headquarters of Ramsey Solutions. This is the Ramsey Show, where we talk about your life, your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by my colleague, Rachel Cruz. We are Ramsey personalities, and we are here together for you this hour. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225, 825-5225. Now, Rachel will focus, obviously, on the money questions. I will chime in if possible. And I'm here to help a little bit about your work today, because your work and your money are absolutely connected, and we want to help you win in both areas. So if you need a bigger shovel to be able to pay debt off faster, get through those baby steps faster, I want to help you with that. If you're in a toxic work environment, that affects your income. So we'll help you with your work and money specifically today, but it's always fun to be with you. So
yes,
exciting to see you.
I know. We haven't co-hosted together in a while.
It's been quite a while.
It's great.
Is it my cologne? Is it a little off-putting?
Just like, don't put me with Ken. Whenever I host, don't put me with Ken.
It's too much. It sears the irises. It's too much. Well, we're excited to be together. We're going to start off north of the border. Ontario, Canada is where William joins us. William, how can we help?
Hey, guys. I'm good. How are you?
We are having a blast. What's going on with you today?
Well, I have a question that sort of wraps a few things into one, but essentially I'm wondering if I should sell the shares I have in a company I co-own in order to pay off our mortgage and have more time for another small business that we kind of have going on the side and want to grow.
Wow. Tell me about the business.
So the current one that I'm partner in two separate businesses. It's a rural internet business that we run. So we sell internet to people out in the country. It's something we started 2 years ago, right before COVID. So it kind of exploded when everyone moved to working at home.
Yeah.
So it ended up working quite well. And what we want to move towards is a small farm business that we've kind of been doing on the side already. And I'd like to have more time to do that.
Sure. What is your income right now, your main source of income? Is it this internet company?
So that would probably only be about 10% of our income. And then the other business I own is a home security and business security business.
Okay.
So that's probably about 80 to 90% of my income right now.
So if you sell the shares of this internet company, will you still draw income, or does that mean you're completely out as an owner?
I would be completely out. And
what would you make on the sale of the shares?
About $350,000.
How much do you owe in your house?
$320,000.
Wow.
Put you in good position, William.
So if I'm hearing everything right, you cash out of this business that you don't want to be in long term, and you're only drawing about 10% of your income from that anyway, and you've got a side business in addition to the security business. You got a farm business. That's your long-term goal. So if I'm hearing everything correct, this makes you completely debt-free, and you get out of a business that you don't want to be in anyway. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's right. And
Rachel?
I guess...
Well, William, my question is, what's the hesitation? Like what, because to me, I'm like, I kind of feels like a simple answer, just being the third party listening in. So what caused you to call and ask? Like, what's your hesitation?
Well, I'm only 26, and this is kind of the third business I've been part of already since working with the boss I started with. So my wife and I are both kind of worried that this will be a pattern moving forward, that I just start something, kind of lose interest, and just keep doing a cycle like that.
Okay.
So just trying to figure out, I guess, if this is just something I'm going to keep doing, or financially it seems to make sense right now, but Yeah,
is the business growing? Are you guys making more and more? And how much time do you spend in that business, the internet business?
The internet one, it's not growing too much right now.
Okay. Do you spend a lot of time in it?
No.
Okay.
Only about 10% of my time.
Because I was going to say, if you're not spending a ton of time and it's like skyrocketing, would you hold and wait and then buy out in 2 years? You know what I mean? When you're making more, that could be the other side of the argument.
Sure.
But I think where you're at today, I think to simplifying your life, William, you have 3 things going on. So part of me would almost just not even want the hassle of it. And you said like, it's not even growing that much. So it's not like you're going to miss out on a ton of ROI in the next few years. Like getting out now feels like the right move to me.
Yeah, so there's two things. I hear what you're saying. I think does your wife have the concern, or is it your concern that you're I'm this serial entrepreneur and I'm starting and I'm quitting and I'm starting? Is that mostly coming from you and she kind of sees it, or is this a joint belief? That's what I'm curious about.
I think we both see that equally. On my side, it's just I'm worried that I'll never be happy with one thing necessarily, and for her it's more the stability of what we'll have.
No question. Yeah. Okay, great. So a couple things. Number one, I want to know, how long would it take you to pay off a house if you did not cash the stock in? So let's say you guys were to keep paying it, going after it as hard as you could, but just from traditional income, not selling the stock in this company. How long would it take you to pay off the house?
I'm thinking 7 to 10 years. Like we're probably a little tight right now with the mortgage on the house that we have.
All right, so I agree with Rachel. I'd go ahead and do this. This is a solid move. You're 26 and you'll have no debt, and you no longer are we tight with the mortgage. But let me address the concern. First of all, I understand where your wife is at. So I've been married 24 years. You're going to have to always be addressing that stability issue and her safety. But you've been very, very successful. And what I'm most curious about is how much the two of you are excited about this farm business. Is she equally excited about that? How big of a passion dream is that?
Yeah, she's very excited about it and sees herself working in that as well, doing different things. And we already do a little bit of it, and we have the hobby farm for ourselves already.
So here's the deal.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting with the two of you at your dinner table tonight, just kind of big brothering it, I'm telling you to cash out, because this is going to fast forward the dream of working on the farm, having lots of options. You want to talk about stability. And I would just speak to this, that, hey, babe, this is an equal dream for me too. And this is going to, when we're no debt at all, we're going to be self-sustainable, not just by financially, but, even the ability to just live off the grid, if you will. So I think stability is the message here. I think this is the move for stability, Rachel.
Yeah, and to speak to the discontentment part, William, there's a part of me that kind of just wants to release you from that, to say, I think that I'll say this, there's having enough self-awareness that if you know that about yourself, that's good. So I think having the awareness is huge. But I'd also say there's two camps of people. Number one, there's a camp of people in their 20s who are still figuring out what you want to do with your life. So the fact that you kind of moved around, that doesn't bother me a ton. Again, with the self-awareness of, is this discontentment? But figuring out what you want to do. And then the camp of people, because we have a friend like this, and he's just great with ideas, starting something, and he'll start something, and he moves to the next one. It's like what he does as a job, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. So discontentment, I think great self-awareness, but also don't be down on yourself because of the moves you made so far. I think it can be very normal.
Yeah, William, I think Rachel made a wonderful point. You're a starter by nature, and you need to lean into that. That's not a negative thing. Just don't start something that you don't care about. That would be the only filter for you. Appreciate the call. Sell it. Pay off the house. That's exciting. And this is The Ramsey Show.
If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com.
Welcome back, America. You have joined the conversation here on The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. She is Rachel Cruz, and we're here for you, 888-825-5225. That's the number. It's toll-free, 888-825-5225. Let's go to the Big Apple, New York City, New York. Brian joins us there. Brian, how can we help?
Yes, how you doing? Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Should I take a consolidated loan or a personal loan to pay off credit card debt in efforts to improve my credit score and build credit history?
I'll give you the short answer, no. and I'll tell you why, Brian. You know, when people go to shift their debt around, there's one time that we actually say that it's not necessarily a terrible idea, and it's if you have, you know, a larger debt, but you're able to get a loan that's less interest rate, and you're in the works to pay it off. Then sometimes we're like, you know what, it makes sense, and you can do that because your behavior was already that I'm going to be paying this debt off. But just hearing your question and the motivation why to do that, I would say no, because our goal with our money, at least what we teach on this show, is to be completely debt-free and not to be at the mercy even of a credit score. And so we even teach to the point that you become debt-free, and within around 12 to 18 months after you become completely debt-free, that credit score starts to actually go down to undetermined, and you end up not really even having a credit score. So that's something that we talk about on the show. So in order to improve a credit score is not a reason we would do a financial move, or what I would suggest that you do. So what kind of debt is it in general? Is it all credit cards?
Yeah, it's all credit card. It's only around $7,500. I don't have a lot of credit history, so I thought paying back a loan would help show some type of credit history.
Yeah, and it would, but again, my goal for you is to still just pay this off and not to work your money and your financial plan around the credit score, because you can still today live life without a credit score. You can even get a mortgage without a credit score through manual underwriting. So I don't want the credit score to be the motivation of why you do things, because it's basically an I love debt score. Every way that your credit score is calculated is an interaction with debt, whether it's the type of debt you have, the new types of debt you bring on, how often you pay your debt. I mean, it's all calculated around debt. And again, having no debt and being completely debt-free gives you so many other options in life and such freedom, which is what we talk about on this show.
Now, what's your plan to pay off the $7,500 if you were not to get a loan? You had a timeline?
I do. Probably in the next 12 months. I have the money to pay it off. I'm paying it off little by little. My long-term thing is I'm stuck at a credit score at like 660 for a long time, and I want to raise that. I guess I'm focused on that credit score, but
Why?
also I want to show that I can pay a loan off, because I do want to get a mortgage in the next 24 to 36 months. So I'm just wondering how to.
Well, you don't need, as Rachel's addressed this, you don't need a credit score to get a loan for a house. That's a cultural myth, number one.
Yeah,
Number two, and again, Rachel's made this very clear, and I agree with her 100%, but you realize your credit score will go up when you pay off the credit cards momentarily. Because it showed that you paid them off. Well, it jumped for a short amount of time. It shows that you paid off their credit cards. How much money do you have in savings right now?
You guys are gonna get mad. I have enough money to pay off the debt. I have around $9,500 in savings. So I know it doesn't make sense. Probably I know I should just probably pay that off, but it's like that cushion to know that I have money in savings. I guess that's why I'm holding on.
How much money do you make? What's your salary? What's your net take home?
$85,000.
Okay. Rachel, I mean, he can replenish
that.
But
I have some expenses, monthly expenses.
Yeah, but you can pay off his credit card.
What other debt do you have, Brian?
Just have a car lease and child support.
Okay.
Are my main two monthly payments.
Yeah. Well, if I were in your position, I probably wouldn't be buying a home in the next 24 months. I think it's going to be a little bit longer for you, just from, again, doing it in a way that all of this is a blessing and not a curse. And our goal was for you to be financially free, to be able to build wealth. And the fastest way to do that from point A to point B, what we found is being completely debt free. So yeah, paying this off, replenishing that emergency fund, because I get it. And and we hear you that like, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm only gonna have $2,000. We even teach to just have $1,000 emergency fund and pay all your debt off.
Yeah.
And that urgency there will also be the motivation for you to build up that emergency fund that much faster. So building up a 3 to 6 months worth of expenses and then a good down payment. So again, it may take, I mean, you maybe be able to do that in 2 years, depending on all your living expenses. Being in New York, you're in an expensive place. But yeah, being able to get out of this car lease, all of that, just being completely freed from payments. And Brian, we've studied this for over 3 decades and have been focused on people building wealth, lasting wealth. And the whole idea of the credit score, I just got to tell you, it is just part of this toxic money industry where they keep you in this system. And again, you have to continue to accumulate new debts to continue to up that credit score as well. There's different parts of this equation. And so again, playing that game over and over and over, at the far end, it doesn't get you to a point where you really can build wealth fast, in a sense, from point A to point B in the right way. So I wouldn't play the credit score game. I really wouldn't, Brian. If I woke up tomorrow and I was you, I'd pay off this credit card. I would see about the car lease, which is a whole other conversation, figuring out, can you get out of it? Is there a buyout? Where are you at in the car lease? Get out of that. Focus, the child support, making sure that that's funded and paid for, and then start saving up for your emergency fund. And I would just continue down the baby steps because, again, it is the plan that we have found has created wealth for people and had a level of getting out of this toxic money culture that so many people are stuck in. And and Brian, this is not at you. I was not disgusted at you. The credit card industry is just frustrating. Oh. It's frustrating keeping people in this cycle of just being in it. And it's like, and even on TV, I'm like, you see all these commercials, all these celebrities, and they're promote all cash back, all of this stuff. And I'm like, speaking to the population that's like, okay, I'm going to pay extra money for a middleman to use money that I don't have. And then you get stuck in it. When you actually look at people living paycheck to paycheck, and you look at the interest rate on these credit cards, up to 25, 30% can be. And then you look at the math and it's like, and that keeps compounding. And if you miss a payment and you don't pay it off in full, that interest is added on. And if you're already living to paycheck, you're already dug in a hole, and they just feed. The industry feeds off of that part of the population, and it just makes me mad.
Well, it is a myth.
And they make so much money too, by the way, America. They're making so much money.
It's a game and they're winning. But a mortgage company does not care about your credit score. They care about how much down payment you have, and do you show a financial history where you're stable. He's going to be able to say, hey, I paid off $7,500 in credit card debt. I've got a 20% down payment. And that's why we endorse.
And here's my income. Here's all my other bills, my cable, my cell phone, everything I pay on time.
That's what they're looking at.
Yes.
They're not looking at credit score. And, I don't have a credit score.
I don't have a credit
score.
You
don't have one either. So it's like, but no one, that doesn't mean that you don't have financial stability. And I think that there's this cultural myth that you look like a flake, when in all reality, if you do what you just told him to do, Brian, if you do what Rachel said, you're not going to be looked at as a flake. You're going to look at as somebody who, I'm happy to give you a loan.
And here's the insane thing about the credit score too, to your point, that people believe like, okay, that means I'm good. It's like this number of I'm good, quote unquote, with managing money.
It's like a status symbol.
Yeah. And I'm like, Brian's great aunt's dog walker, Julia, who he doesn't even know, left him in her will.
Yes.
And she dies tonight. He wakes up tomorrow, he gets a phone call, and they're like, you've inherited $6 million. Your credit score is still exactly the same number, Brian.
This is true. She makes a very good point.
You could have a net worth of millions of dollars more, and it doesn't change your credit. Like, it's not an indication that you're winning with money. It's an indication that you're hanging out with the bank and just in debt and doing all this stuff. Oh.
I love it. I love angry Rachel. Folks, by the way, this is like her actual anger. It's not even real anger. It's just like, it's like a character on Saturday Night Live, and I'm here for it.
If you're my kids, you might see my real anger.
Well, that may be true, but she's right. You're not a loser if you don't have a credit score. In fact, you're not playing in the Matrix, and that's a good thing. All right, hang on. We got to do these things called commercials, but Rachel and I will be back real soon. This is The Ramsey Show.
Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information.
The Ramsey Show continues from our Ramsey Solutions Worldwide headquarters in Nashville. I'm Ken Coleman. Rachel Cruz joins me this hour. We're here for you, 888-825-5225. That's the toll-free number to jump in. Look, I'm a man of the people, Rachel, and I'm always reading the news, you know.
Yes, you are, Ken.
Trying to
Just
stay
like
in
all
touch.
of us.
You are too. You're a woman of the people.
A woman of the people.
We have shows. The Rachel Cruz Show, the Ken Coleman Show is a part of the Ramsey Network, and so we're communicating with our audience. And so I'm always reading the news on what's relevant in the world of work. How's it affecting you? So the bottom line is it's scary. I look at the headlines, and I actually know what's going on because I'm reading everything. And the fact is we're in a baby recession.
Yep.
We had an unbelievable jobs report in July, 500,000 jobs created. We're at 3.5% unemployment. It dropped 1/10 of a point.
Okay, so can we talk
Isn't
about
that amazing?
Yeah.
But you would think that the world is coming to an end.
For sure. But I want to hear from you because we haven't even talked about this. I'm sure you talk about it on your show all the time because I listen to every episode
You got 3
Ken,
kids.
of your show.
You got 3 kids. And you're my friend. Why would you listen?
Ken. Okay,
Go
so,
ahead.
but like ever since, and like 2020 was an absolute change in the way where, it will be down in history when you look to see what came out of COVID.
Yep.
The workforce just changed completely. And so when we look now, I'm like, seeing all the job numbers, which is crazy during a recession because that's usually the thing that gets hit. Mm-hmm. And then you're seeing all these new ways. And I even know, like teachers, right? The teacher shortage that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, it does feel crazy though, but then the numbers are not lining up with the crazy feeling that I'm having when it comes to career. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense.
So what's going on?
So, we've got this weird set of things. We've got some negatives in the economy and some positives. The negatives are inflation, obviously, historic inflation, although we are starting to see gas prices, grocery prices are starting to subside a little bit, but that's what we've been facing. You've got these weird dynamics of I'm hearing about inflation, I'm feeling it in my wallet. And then I start hearing about recession, and people it's like the boogeyman. People freak out.
Yeah.
So that was one thing happening. But then over here you go, well, wait a second. We've got record low unemployment, 3.6%. It dropped to 3.5 in July. We saw in May 370-some thousand jobs, June 390,000 jobs added, and then July 500,000 jobs. Stock market goes bongo this morning when the report came out from July. So the stock market back up really high. So you get this weird dynamic where the economy is kind of bearish, but the stock market is back to the bull. And so it's like people are confused. And so what you're getting is all these headlines designed to make you click. So you're like, well, what's really going on? And here's what's going on. Wages are still at an all-time high. You had another 4 million people quit their jobs in July. So bottom line is it's not all bad.
Yeah.
You're hearing negative things all the time, but if you look at the actual economy, it's a baby recession. So here's the point. You don't need to live in fear of the headlines. But if you're at a point where you're saying enough is enough and you're tired of the headlines giving you kinds of negative emotions about your money, you're going, I can't control it. Well, you can control the controllables, and we're here to help you do that. So we want you to try Financial Peace University, the proven step-by-step plan that has helped millions get control of those controllables. That's you and your habits. And if you follow our plan, you will beat debt and build wealth. The only one who can say you can't is you. So if you've had enough, stop living in fear of the headlines and the politicians. Take control of your money. Start FPU at RamseySolutions.com/enough. That's RamseySolutions.com/enough. Chattanooga is where we go next. Derek is there. Derek, how can we help?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. How are we doing today?
We're having a blast. What's going on with you?
Not much. So long story short, I discovered you guys about 6 months ago, and I think I'm on baby step 6. I'm 32. I'm entirely debt-free. Well, not entirely. I owe about $150,000 on my home.
Wow.
But I'm just really unsure of mainly baby step 5 because I'm single with no kids. So do I just ignore that? And then really, what would be my path forward? Just keep going how I am, or do I need to change something up?
Yeah, Derek, great job, by the way. At 32, it's so impressive. So how much money do you make a year?
$105,000.
Nice. That's great. What do you do?
I'm a project engineer.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, so to answer your question, yeah, you would skip baby step 5. No need to fund kids' college at this point. Are you investing into retirement, 15% of your income?
I was. A few months ago, I started a new job, and I'm not eligible for their 401k program yet.
Okay.
But obviously, once I get to that point, I plan on continuing the 15% into their 401k IRA with their company match.
Yeah, that's so great. And do you have a Roth IRA? Open? That's
I don't have a personal one.
Okay, yeah.
Open. My previous company, they offered a Roth.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So there's the Roth 401k and then a Roth IRA, which you'll just do individually regardless of what business you're at. So that as long as you're making an income, that's another great option to have because, again, it grows tax-free. It's another great place to put your money. If the 401k, you take the match of that and then anything other, then I would go ahead and max out your Roth IRA once you have opened that and then go back to your 401k if there's any more of that 15% left. So funding that, focusing on retirement, skipping baby step 5, and then throwing the rest at your house, Derek, and getting that paid off. We always say, as soon as possible, but it's not this intensity that we talk about in baby step 2 when you're paying off your consumer debt. So, and I would just encourage you to, you're in a great position just in your life stage of being single, not having kids, to just, say, hey, if there's a margin, I'm going to just throw it at the house because if there is a marriage in your future and kids in your future, if that's something you're wanting, being set up and being able to go into those seasons, or if not, but just the earlier paying off that house, I think is so smart. So you don't have to go crazy, but I also would have an aggressive goal to pay it off. And you make a great income. I mean, $105,000 a year. So
knock that out quick.
Yeah, you could really, really strip your lifestyle down and just say, hey, I'm going to knock out that house. And then beyond that, then Derek, you're just funding more into retirement, investments, giving, continuing to give, even upping your giving at that point in baby step 7 and enjoying some of your money. But you're doing exactly what you should be doing. So you're doing great. I would just encourage you to open up a Roth IRA. If you don't have a good investment professional in your life, I would find them. We recommend people all over the country. They're smart Vestor pros. So you can go to RamseySolutions.com and find one in your area. But I would recommend sitting down with one of them and just re-looking at your retirement, making sure that your money's going as far as possible. And considering how young you are, the earlier you start, the better off it is.
You really highlighted the point here that he's going to have so many options if and when kiddos come along by paying off the house and being young. He's got some upward mobility in the type of work he does as an engineer. So his better income days, I think, are still ahead of him. And, for parents who are going, I'm getting this thing and I'm trying to get control of the debt and I didn't put enough in for the kids, if you just follow the baby steps and get that financial piece, it's going to give you more options to be able to fund things like the college if you're behind, or whatever you need to do. And, he, in his case, wow, I think the aggressive investing, I love that recommendation from you because if he outside of the 401k, what you're suggesting, I think is huge because the wife and the future kids, that gives him all kinds of options where it doesn't even affect him.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
It's really
great job, Derek.
Yeah.
You've done a great job.
So this again underscores, if you're new to the program, and Rachel, we have new people, as you know, joining all the time, and certainly a lot of young people. We're so excited. We got a lot of young people watching the show on YouTube. And I think this is a key point, to encourage you specifically, that what we teach, these baby steps, baby step 1 all the way through baby step 7, it gives you options. I just don't think this generation, you need to hear this. It gives you options, lots of options. It's not just be financially disciplined like grandma.
Yeah.
No, you all want options more than previous generations.
Yes.
And the financial freedom, what we call financial peace, I want you to hear options, baby, because that's what matters to you and the way you want to live your life. And it takes discipline, it takes sacrifice, it takes patience. But in the end, tremendous options. All right, stay tuned. Before you know it, we'll be right back with more of your calls, America. She's Rachel Cruz. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. My colleague joining me in the studio today is Rachel Cruz. We're Ramsey personalities. We host shows on the Ramsey Network, but we are here for you today, taking your questions about money and work. They are inextricably tied together. That bigger shovel, it's a phrase we use to make more money, to get out of debt faster, to save money, to invest more. And so I specialize in helping people win in their work. And Rachel's going to help us win with money today. So if you are looking for a breakthrough, you just need somebody to carefully guide you through some practical steps to help you win, we'd love to be your guides today. 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Abraham is up in Fort Collins, Colorado. Abraham, how can we help?
Hey, Ken and Rachel. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So I'm a recent Ramsey fan just this summer. My wife and I have 3 kids, and we kind of made it to baby step 2 and totally stalled out. We are way upside down as far as how much house we have and trying to get to the next best step to extricate and keep moving forward.
Tell us about the house.
So we bought our first starter house 6 years ago for $230 and sold it for $315. So we did really well there. Bought our next home for $439 and sold it for $495 2 years later. We like to fix and flip. Then we got our dream property here in Colorado with land and a home, but it was $680. So we made it. I actually did a no-no and pulled out my 401k during COVID with no penalties and put that enough to get the down payment. It is now about 48% of our income is our house payment. Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, and we've been here 2 years, and it's a struggle. And obviously, we're not investing, we're not doing anything else but living. So, the good news is we have about $3,000 in credit card debt. That is it. No other student loans or other credit debt.
Okay.
My question is, I know we need to probably get out from under this. We could sell quickly and probably get about $850. What we have remaining is $577 on the house, or we could continue to do a little bit more remodeling, maybe go into a little credit card debt, and hopefully get around $900 to $950 next spring. I don't know.
Well, here's the only question I have: as tight as everything is, where are you going to get that income outside of the credit card? That means you're maxing out credit cards just to be able to make these changes. What's your combined income? Is it just you working? What's your income situation?
Yeah, my wife and I work. I make about $105 a year, and she makes about $20. She works really part-time, so about $125.
What do you do?
I did buy my dream truck, and I'm in sales, so I'm a territory sales manager.
Okay. What were you saying about your dream truck?
I did all the wrong things, I think, along this process. When we were in our last home, I bought my dream truck brand new, so that's 3 years old. That truck payment is about $500 a month.
What's that worth?
I owe about 33 on it, and it's worth over 40.
Okay, so you do have other debt. You said you just had the credit cards. So
Yeah, that is true.
okay,
Yeah.
so
the truck is going to go.
Yeah. What's the other car, or what's your other loan on the car, on the other car?
The other car we own is paid off.
It's paid off.
It's a 2014 Honda, so we
And
own
no
that. Yep.
like personal loans, no 401k loans. I know you cashed it out to do. I'm just making sure, nothing else. Okay. So yeah,
Yep, nothing else. The truck and the.
Yes. So here's what's so. Not fascinating, it's probably the wrong word, Abraham, to use, but our homes, people go into a home, and like you said, it's our dream home, and it sounds amazing, right? You get land in Colorado, you get a home, all of it. Like it's a sacred place to people because it's where your kids are, it's where your family is. I mean, your home is just such a cherished place. And what ends up happening is this thing that we thought was such a blessing ends up being the absolute biggest burden to you and your wife. Like, I could imagine you're stressed out. You're thinking about it all the time. When you want to go do something fun, it's like we have no money to. I mean, it is a constant sore spot in your life.
True.
And so this thing that you thought was going to be such a cherished, wonderful, dreamy part of your life ends up being this burden. And so that happens to so many people, Abraham. Like that's not a shameful thing to say to you, but that's the reality and where a lot of people are. So yeah, if I were you guys, how old are your kids?
They're 10, 8, and 4.
Okay, yeah. So you got little ones. So, I mean, so if I'm you, I am relieving as much stress as possible in my life, and doing renovations, going into debt for renovations, all that adds way more stress because stuff takes longer than you expect. It's always more expensive, and you're going to use debt, which is not even going to be an option that we're going to give you. So, if I were you, Abraham, and I know it hurts, but I would sell. And I would find a home that you guys go back to that it's like, okay, it's reasonably 25% of our take home pay. You sell the truck, you pay off this debt, you guys get an emergency fund, you get back on solid footing. And something else happens too during this process. There's a level of realizing, man, our priorities have just shifted. I would rather be in a smaller space with peace of mind and I'm not losing sleep at night than to have what I thought I wanted and be stressed out. And so I would sell, and I would find something that you guys can afford. And then the great thing too, Abraham, is you could look up in a few years and go get land again. It's not like that this is the only time you never could or that you can. And that truck, you can always go buy that truck again in a few years, your dream truck. Like all of this whole thing of being debt free and getting a firm foundation doesn't mean you can never enjoy stuff or go back to the dreams that you had. You can always go back to them, but you're going to do it where those dreams are a blessing. It's a gift in your life. It doesn't take away from your life. And so what's happened is it's been hard for you guys. I can only imagine. So I hate to say sell it because I know it's a dream of you guys to have land and a house, but and I don't see your income going up or her going back. I wouldn't send her back to work full time unless she wanted to pay for a house payment. Like all of that.
Not, yeah, I agree with that.
It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Well, but you got to get rid of the truck and the credit card in this whole deal. All right. So like this is an all in, get rid of all of it. So, you're going to have $7,000 and some change left if you sell the truck, and you can get a decent older SUV for that. That's just what you're going to have to do, Well,
the blessing, Ken, is actually my job came with a company vehicle, so I don't actually need to replace my truck. So that's a really good thing.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So now we take the profit from the truck and we wipe out the credit cards, if I remember that amount correctly. Yep. So now,
it's about 3. Yep.
So let's just play some real fun math here. How much is that going to free up in your budget if we pay off the truck today and the credit cards today? We got $500 a month on the truck. What's on the credit card right now? Minimum payments.
Minimum payments on the card are about $80.
All right. So, okay, $580, but that's $580. That's over $6,000 a year. Immediately.
Yep.
You sell the house, and here's the thing I want you to hear. And Dave's a great example. Let's use Dave Ramsey's example. So Dave was in real estate. He was doing very well, right? If you don't know Dave's story, the bank called all the notes. Rachel was a baby, and he loses everything, right? But Dave went back and got into real estate, even bigger than ever, and it's all cash. So you all have experience. See, Dave had experience, and I've heard him say to me before, he's like, it's easier to make the second million than it was the first. And you all have some knowledge. You flipped, I think you said 2 houses prior to this one. So Rachel made a very good point. I want to drive that home. Yes, this is a bit of a contraction, but it's temporary. And now you're going to come out of this, be completely debt-free, no stress on mama, you, the 3 kids, And then you can start that flipping process if you want to get back into that one day, but this time you do it all cash because you know how to do it. You've been there before. So I just want you to be encouraged in the midst of this pain, because this is painful. And I just want to acknowledge that this is going to suck to sell this house. You know, it is.
It feels like a step back, which is hard for me, but yes, I understand.
Well, let's be honest. It is a step back, but it will position you to make so many more steps forward faster. Yeah. That's the key. You got to remember that right now, because it is a step back. Don't try to sugarcoat it, but it's going to position you, and you're going to come back better and stronger than before.
And you guys are functioning in such a tight budget already that when you free it up, even moving homes, your priorities may shift. You may realize, what other options do we have? We were talking about options earlier. So, Abraham, you're a great dad, great husband, and I think you guys are making some hard decisions. But in 9 months after everything's cleared and done, you're going to breathe again and sleep at night.
She's Rachel Cruz. I'm Ken Coleman. Thank you, America, for joining us here on The Ramsey Show. Hey folks, Ken Coleman here. Did you know The Ramsey Show is one of the most popular podcasts in the world? Get your daily dose of advice on life and money. Check out all of our shows from the Ramsey Network wherever you listen to podcasts. Headquarters of Ramsey Solutions. This is The Ramsey Show. It's where we talk to America about their life, their money, their work, and their relationships. I'm Ken Coleman. Rachel Cruz joins me this hour. We are here for you, 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Let's go to the Motor City to start this hour off. Mitchell is there in Detroit. Mitchell, how can we help?
Hi. So I'm trying to decide if I should focus my energy and attention on the career I currently have or switch over to the business that I currently have. So I currently work as an automation technician, and I work for a great company that is very loyal to me and supporting me. And they're sending me to college on their dime, but I have a contract with them for 5 years. So I have a commitment to this company. And I do really love this company, and I think it's full of great people. But I read your book, Ken, From Paycheck to Purpose, and the part where you talked about getting clear with yourself really, I don't know, I just had an epiphany, and I kind of thought that I'm not so sure that this is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. And I just have this inner passion for owning my own business, and I can't help but feeling like I owe it to society and our world to put my best skills forward and do what I think I am the most passionate about.
How old are you, Mitchell?
I'm 20.
You're 20.
And tell me about the side business.
So the business that I currently have is essentially like a marketing agency. I make ads for right now. I only make ads for my own company. It's a flashlight business. I have suppliers, and I go out and find suppliers that have very high quality flashlights, bring them to the U.S., and then basically act as their marketing agency.
Okay.
And
how much money?
Advertisements and make.
How long you've been doing it, and how much money are you averaging a month from this side business?
So I launched the website about a month ago, and I've probably made about $1,000.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, I love your enthusiasm and your passion, and you read correctly. That is what I want you to do, and I do think that you have a unique contribution to make. However, I was once 20. It's hard to believe when I say that.
When you said Mitchell from the Motor City, I thought, his 20-year-old days were far away. It's a very old man comment.
No, that's what they call Detroit, the Motor City. I know, it is. Thank you very much.
Just a grandpa move. That's fine. I'll take it.
Okay, that's fine. I can handle it. Anyway, Mitchell, you're 20, right? And so you've got a lot of time, and you also get this contract. how far into the 5-year commitment do you have to this company that they're paying for your schooling?
I'm halfway through the program, so I'm 2.5 years in.
Great.
The schooling is 3 years, and then I have 2 years of full-time employment at the company. And just so you know, I am fully committed to finishing out the 5 years.
So here's
I feel
the encouragement.
I owe it to them, no matter what.
Okay, great. Because that's the right move. And I also love the idea of you being 20 and you started this thing and you're a month in. Because the reality is 6 months from now, you may have another idea. And that's okay too at 21 or 20. This is the season where you've got a stable job. The great news is you like the work, you like the people, and there's tremendous stability here. So this is the season of testing and exploring ideas. So my advice is stay the course. Let's try a lot of things. What you got to be careful of here is that you don't let your heart kind of drown out your brain here and talk you out of, if you get some success with this marketing agency and sort of go, oh, I want to say, no, stay the course. Build it to the pace that you can build it, given you've got responsibilities with school and work. And let's just see what else comes into mind as you think about the future. But there's a day coming, I can see it, where you will be your own boss and work for yourself. But you got to replace that income. You've got to replace the income. And so that's always the mindset. It's very easy for young people specifically to obsess about the next and miss what you need to do in the now, and then ultimately sacrifice the next. So that's my only caution. You got a really level head. I think you got a really good plan. Rachel, any thoughts here on this?
You sound extremely mature.
Yeah.
To be a 20-year-old. So I think
Thank you.
And I think, like Ken's saying, continue to grow. And I think even, and you already said this, but honoring that time with the company and the investment they're putting in you, taking you through school and all of that. And even that in and of itself is a good character move. Like when you can learn to keep your word early on.
That's right.
And stay the course, like Ken is saying, there's even a character quality to that, Mitchell, of that's a great value. So, I think you're doing awesome. And like Ken said, I think we're going to look down the future. Mitchell will have his own company at some point in life for sure.
Patience is a superpower. I wish I'd have known that at 20. Patience, it really does pay off. All right, so here's another. Let's see if this is another grandpa move. Your words. Let's go north. Let's go north of the border.
You said that earlier too.
But I'm going to say it again because that's where it is. Toronto, Canada. Elizabeth is there. Elizabeth, how can we help?
Hi, Ken and Rachel. Greetings from the sunny and dry Toronto.
Oh, well, that's nice because it is wet here in Nashville today. So
that's exactly why I'm saying sunny and dry over here. We're boasting from the north that we have sun and dryness.
That's fantastic. How can we help you today, Elizabeth?
So I want to know whether or not I should pay off my mortgage or my HELOC. And I know Ramsey says pay off the HELOC. That's the only two debt I have. And I was focusing on paying off the HELOC until I ran into a snag today, where I maxed out the amount that I could pay within 1 year, which is 15%. And I can't do anything more with the HELOC because I locked in for 5 years variable rate. It's now at 3.58, and this is where we're at. Now, the mortgage, on the other hand, so the HELOC, I have $79,389 left on that, $79,389, and the mortgage, I have $129,500 on that. My mortgage is coming due December 1st, 2022. The rate, it's a locked rate at 2.54. So I don't know what to do right now with these two. I know he says pay off the HELOC, but where we're at right now, I'm a little stumped because I can't pay anything more without paying a penalty on the HELOC.
Of that.
For going over.
Was there an option, Elizabeth, to roll it into your mortgage?
There is an option in December.
Yeah, you could look into do that because
to do that, but
yeah, you'll be paying both debts off, and it'll be a lower interest rate if you do that. We always say to pay off the HELOC and put it in baby step 2 if it's half of your annual income. But all the math that you're throwing at me, I'm assuming that's probably not the case. So if you can just roll it into your mortgage, that's an option to get a lower interest rate and then attack it. But you're doing great, Elizabeth. Thanks so much. Thanks for the call.
Thank you so much for the call. By the way, I like the way she said your name. I might call you Rachel.
I love it.
The rest of the show. I like it.
Because I'm north of the border.
Oh, folks, the things that irritate Rachel Cruz. Oh, so fun. Hey, don't move. More of The Ramsey Show coming up.
Chaos. That's what it can feel like when your business is growing so fast you've outgrown your financial and accounting software. The faster you grow, the more likely you are to lose control of the numbers. And here's the reality. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's why we use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. Over 28,000 companies use NetSuite by Oracle, including Ramsey Solutions, because NetSuite gives us a single view of everything we need to make daily decisions. Whether you're making a few million to hundreds of millions a year, NetSuite gives you the visibility and control of the things you need to grow, like your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, all in one dashboard. Go to netsuite.com/Ramsey right now to get their free white paper. Jumpstart your CFO career.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. Rachel Cruz joins me this hour as we take your calls. 888-825-5225. That is the toll-free number. Dalton is up in San Antonio, Texas. Dalton, how can we help?
Hey, guys. First off, thank you so much for taking my call. Really love the show. Love all of y'all.
Thank you.
My question is this. Yes, no problem. My question is this. Should I stay in my current sales job as an RV salesman, or should I go back to school and pursue law school?
Okay. So what's on the other side of law school for you? What does that look like, that vision?
So I have been passionate about justice and law, and so a career that I can actually see myself doing and being able to help people. Not only that, it's also something that I can make money doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so also the vision there is, I mean, I don't want to limit myself,
mm-hmm.
but because I know there are several different pathways once you become an attorney,
mm-hmm.
but probably going to try to focus on helping veterans out.
Okay. Mm. All right. So I just wanted to hear your heart behind it, because when somebody asks me a question like that, it's like, well, if you want to be a lawyer, you got to go to law school. And I am no fan of grad school for the sake of burnishing your resume. But in this case, it's obviously relevant. You got to do it. So the question is, what do you have saved? Because I have an idea for you that I don't think most people know about. I had the privilege of interviewing a guy who's a lawyer who wrote this small little booklet and blew my mind about how you can go to law school for free. And I'm going to tell you about that in a second. But I want to know, what's your target schools? What kind of money do you have set aside? Because we don't want you to go into debt, and law school can be unbelievably expensive.
Gotcha. So I actually don't have any debt. I'm on baby step 3,
Mm-hmm.
Saving my emergency fund, working on that. The thing is my grandmother, when she passed away, she left in her 401k a certain amount of money that my dad actually has access to every year, and that is what is helping pay off my brothers, my sisters, and eventually will help pay off my student loans by God's grace.
Yeah. Well, but I still don't want you to. I would rather that money maybe go towards paying for some of the school and cash flowing.
Sure.
So let me tell you about this, and you got to do your homework. Okay, so you're going to have to do your homework on law schools that you're interested in. But here's the simple process. There are all of the big, shiny, impressive, like Vanderbilt Law or Harvard Law, but there are, you wouldn't believe, like all of the state schools, smaller schools that you've never heard of that have law programs. And if you score a certain number, and it's very high, so you can go do the research. This is readily available on the LSAT, which is the entrance exam for law school. Certain scores, and you can take the LSAT, by the way, Dalton, as many times as you want. And that, to me, would be the play, because if you get a certain score, law schools will ask you to come to their law school and give you a full ride. And the reason is because they're looking to put out successful lawyers. So I want you to know that's not some scheme. That's not a pipe dream. That's real. And I would really implore you to think about that, because here's what I know, Rachel. I've not had to deal with lawyers very much. Had to hire a lawyer a few times on just contract stuff, nothing big. But you know what I've never asked them? Where they went to law school.
Yeah. Same with doctors.
Yeah.
Right?
Last time you went and got a
You're
checkup.
in a hospital and you're like, I need to, okay. It wasn't like, well, if you didn't go to one of these 3 schools.
Right.
I'm
As they're
look for a
rolling you
different-
back to the ER or the operating room, and
I'm
you're
gonna
like, nobody cares. So, Dalton, that's what I want the money. First of all, go get really clear with your dad. What's the allocation for me for law school? And instead of thinking about applying that to a loan, how about we apply that to any tuition or maybe housing or something that you might need to make this transition? So that's what I want you to hear. Yes, you should go to law school. Don't rush, all right, because law school is going to be there. The veterans and the people you want to help with that law degree are going to be there. So I'd get my ducks in a row is what I'm saying here. And I would really, really encourage you. If you're a good student and a good test taker, I was not, but if you are, that's a viable option to save
and
just crazy amount of money.
Yeah, for you, what's more of the motivation, helping veterans in life, or is it more being a lawyer?
So,
and it could be both. I guess you could say both.
Yeah, that's a great question. I am a veteran myself, and short story long, I had a lot of things happen to me and was administratively discharged from the Air Force. And I just got off the phone with an attorney with the South Texas College of Law, and she told me that they are going to be able to take my case for free this semester to help me get that all situated and all fixed up. And after getting off that call, it was a confirmation. If I can do that one day for another veteran, or even if I could do that one day for someone else who's struggling with any type of situation or legal matter, it would make the world of difference.
Yeah.
Dalton, forgive the ignorance of this if it's an ignorant question, but does the GI Bill not come into play for you on law school?
So it's up in the air. After getting off that phone call with that attorney, it's looking like I have a lot greater chances of being able to use that GI Bill.
Okay.
But if you were taken off for leave, then yeah.
That's part of what's going on. Okay, I got you. All right.
That makes sense, yeah. And the only reason
that's the full story.
I asked that question, Dalton, is I'm like, not steering you away from law school by any means, but continuing to look at options. We talk about options on the show all the time.
Yep.
But like, where's a way that I can do that and help in a way that may not require a law degree? Like, is that an option at all? Because law school, it's expensive, it's long, all of that. But if being a lawyer is, and the legal system is a real big passion of yours, then obviously you need to go. But I just wanted to clarify and make sure that that you can't get that passion served in other positions besides just being a lawyer. But that's great, and I hope that it all goes in your favor for sure.
Yeah.
Because that will help with the GI Bill. That's a great call out.
Dalton, thank you so much for your service.
Yes,
and thank you for the call. Let's go to Gabriel in Fort Worth, Texas. Gabriel, how can we help?
Howdy. Yeah, so I've got a pretty good question for you guys. I'm trying to figure out if I should sell our house to pay off our debt, or to stay in the home and find a job that would help, kind of pay toward the debt faster. And if I chose the job side, I'd go from corporate style to a startup business.
Okay. How much is your mortgage payment a month, percentage-wise, for your overall budget?
It's 25%, so it's $1,575.
Okay.
And I make $90,000 a year.
Okay. Yeah, selling the house, especially since it's not a huge part of your budget, which is great. It's what we teach, so that it doesn't eat into everything. That and how much debt do you guys have?
We have $22,000 in car, which is one vehicle, and then $6,000 in medical.
How much could you sell the car for?
More than that, more than the 22.
Why wouldn't you just get rid of the car?
About 30, probably 32,000. So it'll be
32, and it's you could sell it, knock everything out, and have $4,000 hanging around. Knock out all your debt.
Yeah, and that way I guess we wouldn't have to sell the home or
yes,
or go to
Yeah.
another job.
I do not like you trying to make more money with a startup. That's too risky, and it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Your house payment's not out of control.
No, it's not the house. The house isn't the issue.
Yeah.
It's you guys buckling down. Are you guys on a strict budget? Are you sitting down before the month
very
begins?
strict.
Okay, you know exactly where your money's going. Okay, that's great.
Sell the car, baby.
Oh yeah, I'd get rid of that. Get rid of it. Sell
Easy
it.
enough then.
Yeah, I would. I mean, you owe $22,000. You get $32,000 for it. You gain $10,000. Pay off the credit cards at $6,000. Have $4,000 left.
Hey, you're driving around a clunker for a while. Who cares?
Use that $4,000 to throw towards something else. Save up a little bit. You make great income. Yeah, don't sell it. No, you don't need to sell the house, Gabriel.
Yeah, thank you so much for the call. You guys are so close. Stay the course. Thank you so much for the call. All right, folks, don't move. More of the Ramsey Show coming right up.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. Thrilled to have you with us. I'm Ken Coleman. Rachel Cruz joins me as we are here taking your calls, 888-825-5225. We're talking about your life, whether that's your money situation, your work situation. We are here to help today. Let's go to Ogden, Utah. Connor is there. Connor, how can we help?
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. So my wife and I are about ready to move out of our home. We have a little daughter, and we're outgrowing it. So I've been looking at our options, and because my parents are so generous and we've been so blessed, they told us about a week ago that they're going to be giving all their kids an inheritance early so they could watch them spend it. And the inheritance is about $300,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so that opens up a lot of options for us. We have been kind of weighing it in our heads. And one of the things is our current home is in a college town, and we've been thinking about maybe just paying that off with $100,000 or $115,000 is what we owe on it still, and then renting it out, and then using the other $200,000 as a down payment to our next house, which would get us a comfortable house payment. But the other option is we thought maybe we would just sell this house now and take the $200,000 in equity and put it towards our next down payment, along with $300,000 or whatever to basically buy our next house in cash and not have a house payment. So we're just trying to figure out between those two options what would you, maybe there's another option that I'm not thinking about either that you can fill me in on.
No, not off the top of my head of what you guys want to do. I mean, I think this is a really smart move, and I think a beautiful way to honor your parents and the legacy and the inheritance that they're giving you. I'm sure they would appreciate seeing this versus taking 18 trips around the world or something.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. There's something about it that is like, oh, there's like a stability. It's an investment.
Which
for you
way
guys
are
as a
you
family
leaning?
and all that.
I'm curious to know, are you two leaning the same way? One of you leaning one way, one leaning the other?
My wife is leaning a little bit towards the renting, and I'm kind of honestly in the middle. I could see it either way. I like the idea of having that extra stream of income coming in every single month. But there's also that feeling of just not having any debt at all with our next home.
Yeah.
And just being free and clear.
Connor, do y'all want to be landlords? Like the idea of an investment property sounds like, oh, that sounds great. And yes, there's passive income. And I come from a real estate family. My husband loves real estate. So like, I get it. But because of that, I also know all of the work that goes in. And then you said college town, that I'm sure you can find the great group of college students to rent it out, but you're also renting it out to college students.
Yeah.
So, or possibly you could obviously not do that. But I mean, the landlord thing, that's not just oh yeah, that's cool and fun. I mean, it ends up kind of being a part-time job. And if you're working full-time, I'll be honest, it may land into your wife's lap of her having to go and fix the sink breaks. And they, like it's a thing too. So I just want you guys to keep in mind. So it is a great way to have passive income. But if I were you, I would just be free and clear. And then if you guys want to save up, because you won't have a mortgage, if you just sold it and then paid cash for your primary residence. Yeah, I mean, that's phenomenal. Then you could save up a lot. And if you guys chose to go into real estate investing, then you could and start small, maybe even a different location.
Right.
Yeah, so fun little exercise. How much do you think you could get per month for that house in the college town if you paid it off with some of this inheritance? How much?
$1,350 is about what the rent would be.
Okay, so again, what's that going to end up being? $18,000, $19,000, $20,000? I'm not really great at math, but somewhere in that range, right? 15, 16, something like that. So you have to sit there with your wife and go, okay, here's the income that this would spit off, but that doesn't include the expenses, which Rachel was touching on.
It's not going to just be that.
It's not going to be free and clear $15,000 to $18,000.
You're going to have to replace carpet in 3 years. You're going to probably repaint the wall. I mean, it's just,
I think it's a thing. I learned that one from George. I was with George Campbell, threw that at a caller the other day. I was like, that's a really good exercise because it's like, is it worth
all the work?
Let's just call it net, just for easy numbers, $14,000 a year. You're going to have expenses. You're just going to. And you got all of this for $14,000. And to Rachel's point, like, what's the trade-off on like a huge down payment or buying a house cash, in this point in your marriage? So I'd get rid of the house too. I really would.
Okay.
It's just, but I mean, you got to sit down with your wife and cast vision
and
on that.
I don't think there's a wrong answer here.
That's correct.
Because one of them's going to be paid off. If you were going to still have debt on debt on a primary residence, I would tell you to get rid of it, hands down. But for it being paid off, it's not right or wrong. It's just truly where you guys want to put your time and your effort. If it's my dad or my husband, they're probably going to keep it because they love real estate and they're like, oh, it is worth it because of, it's part of what they love. But to me, I'm like, whew. And to call it, oh man, I just remember renting a house in college. Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Know.
Winston lived with like 6 guys in a rental house. And it
disgusting.
was
I'm already disgusted.
It was terrible.
Oh, yeah. Block parties and games and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
We were good renters, though. My group of friends. We were very clean. We took care of that house.
All right.
I was an old soul.
Yeah. Well.
In the college days.
Yeah. I think you're still an old soul.
I'll take
not
it.
as old as me, though, apparently, with my little phrases.
Not quite north of the border. My goodness.
Melissa's up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Don't get me started on Chattanooga. Melissa, how can we help?
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Ken. It is a pleasure to speak with you today. I'm so grateful. I'm in a situation now. I have a possible fork in my career path, and I'm hoping you can kind of help me unpack it a little bit.
Sure.
So what's going on? I had my quarterly check-in with my supervisor today. Now, it's kind of a backstory. We work for a big company who has 2 retail locations. I work for the smaller of the 2, and it's quite a bit smaller. I oversee it, and I have 3 teammates who work for me. So we've been working really, really hard for a few years now, even through COVID and all of that, on expanding, growing, providing more service for people. We're at the point where the company or the building that we rent, we have possibly having our lease being bought out by somebody else who shares the building. Now, we're not in a position where we can rent a new location. We've got a really sweet deal at this building. So what it sounds like, I've got probably a 60 to 75% chance that we are going to close my location and we're going to be absorbed into the bigger location. My teammates will blend just fine. The thing that we run into is my position. My director is super awesome, super supportive, and really thinks that there is a path of progression for me to take her position as she plans to exit the company in the next 2 to 3 years. I'm not so confident, but I'm also kind of interested. I think maybe it would be a huge leap from assistant manager to director. But I'm just not sure what I want to think right now.
So what would be?
It's a lot.
Yeah, I get it. So what would the interim look like? So if they shut this down, the smaller location where you're in a manager position, and then you go to the bigger location, you're underneath that director, what role are you in? Are you making the same amount of money?
We just started discussing that. It would be a new role created for me, sort of a GM in training, along with whatever else, so I actually get a legit paycheck with a legit job at the other location while I'm training and helping that business grow, but also learning the ropes of what it would mean to be a director over there.
Okay, if you knew that the path was 2 to 3 years, it was guaranteed you were going to replace her, would you be on the phone with us?
I'm pretty sure it could happen. I'm just not sure if it's the right choice for me.
That's what I'm asking.
If that makes sense.
So you're not sure if that's the long-term play for you. And I love that. So how soon is a decision going to be made where you're going to have to choose? I got about 30 seconds, so give me the quick answer.
We're looking at probably end of year. We'll know what's going to happen with the lease.
All right, so here's what I would do.
Decide if I'm staying or going.
All right, so here's what I would do. I would spend time right now thinking about your long-term future, knowing that you have a safe option to at least take this for the interim while you still figure this out. Okay, so I just want you to breathe. Stay with the company until you figure it out long term. Hang on the line. Let's get you an assessment. The Get Clear Career Assessment. I'll give that to you, a link and a code. I want you to take that as you consider long term what your options are. But I'm glad you're stable right now. Thank you for the call. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back, America. You are listening to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. Rachel Cruz joins me in studio as we take your calls this hour. Now, folks, you're hearing a lot of people in the news, the talking heads. You're reading headlines about the real estate market. And if you believe them, you're going to think, oh, the housing market's going to crash. It's going to be a repeat of the 2008 housing crisis. But I can tell you, you're not hearing the truth. You can't make decisions based on fear. You need the facts. And here they are. In 2008, there was a massive supply of homes, but not enough buyer demand. So home prices dropped. But that's not what's happening in today's market right now. There are half as many homes for sale and twice as many buyers. This means the home values, while you may see prices coming off of the inflated prices, but values aren't going down. So if you're ready to buy or sell a home, you don't have to wait. You can still win in this market, but you got to work with somebody who actually knows the market and make sure that you've got a guide to walk you through the process. And we've done the hard work here at Ramsey Solutions to vet agents that know your local market and have the experience of transactions to back up their advice. To connect with one of our Ramsey trusted agents for free, go to RamseySolutions.com/agent. That's RamseySolutions.com/agent. Alyssa is up in Redding, California. Alyssa, how can we help?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. How are you doing today?
We're having a blast. What's going on?
So me and my fiance, I'm excited to say we're getting married October 1st.
Hey!
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. So we're kind of prepping up our lives. We both finished the 3 baby steps. We are ready to start going to town on saving up all of our money towards a down payment. We just finished up paying off our wedding, so we're good to go.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, the only thing the only problem we have here is, well, not problem, just we need to figure out what to do, is in January, Jacob is changing his, he's going through his credentialing program, so he'll be starting as a student teacher. For 6 months, he will not be getting pay. He just works 40 hours a week and doesn't get paid. So we're planning for that because we're like, okay, well, what do we need to do then? I make $2,600 a month, like as far as like after taxes come out, after I save my 15% towards retirement, I have $2,600. We're currently looking for a place to settle down to together as our first home. So we're looking at a place for $1,500. We're trying to figure out kind of how much we should also. We both have 3 months saved of an emergency fund. So we're kind of figuring out what should our strategy be. Should we like stockpile it up to 6 months and then like, I don't know. We're kind of looking for strategy here. If you guys have any.
What's the number? You said you both have. You said you both have emergency funds. What's in each of your funds?
So $4,000 for each of us.
Okay.
For each. So
$8,000 total.
8 total. Do you guys have any debt?
No debt.
No debt. Okay.
And what would his income be again? You may have said it. What would it? I know he's without income for 6 months, starting in January. What income has he been making up to this point per month?
Right now, he can't. I think he's at $5,000 gross, but we can save $3,700 to $4,700 off his paycheck. They fluctuate through the end of December.
Great.
Okay.
After his living expenses.
Great.
And I can save $1,000. So, or sorry, he's 20 together. Sorry, he can do $2,700 to $3,700 save off after living expenses. I could do $1,000. So together, after we live, we can save $3,700 to $4,700 through December on our paycheck.
Great. And that sets you up for that next 6 months.
Yeah, that's just kind of the. Yeah, I would have a separate. I would have the $8,000 just for y'all's emergency fund. And then whatever money you guys have saved, you're going to earmark that, right? 15, 20,000, whatever it ends up being at the end of the year. And then that's where and you need to run out your numbers too, as much as you can figure out, okay, how do we look at our expenses once we're married and how much per month will we need?
Yep.
And make sure that total number is okay. And that can just kind of be like your side bank that you're just pulling money out each month, and you got to be really diligent about it. But also, I mean, the numbers you gave too, besides the savings, it's around $1,100 left after.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit more hustle involved here.
So I'm just wondering for him at night, what's he going to be doing after hours? And you guys are going to be newly married. And so like, it's not fun, but there's a little bit of this like adult life of like, hey, I've chosen this track and I'm going to do that. That doesn't mean at 4:00 when he's done student teaching that y'all just are going to hang out. He's probably going to have a job.
Yeah, you're not coming home and watching Judge Judy, you know.
You're probably going to be working at night, like maybe, at least 4 times a week or something. And
I would say even now, I think there's two choices.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If he's sitting here with me, I'm putting my arm around him and saying, hey, man, you need to go all in right now before the wedding. You're working crazy hours, stocking up what that 6-month number needs to be.
Yeah.
Based on what Rachel said, she's right. That living expense budget, what do we need so that we're not stressing at 6 months? The last thing you all want is to be newlyweds and he's starting a new career, which is already hard.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he's not getting paid, even though he knows he's paying his dues. This is all psychology.
Well, and
then you're struggling.
I would not be buying a house either. I would be renting.
No, I would rent.
I would be renting. So
rent. But
don't be a homeowner right now during all of this because you guys are newly married. Number one, number two, this added stress of what could come up that you guys wouldn't be able to cover if something comes up in the house versus where a landlord can. I mean, you're going to be so finding a place to rent. And, it was funny. I was talking to George Campbell, actually, right before this show. And we were talking about, we were laughing because we're like, HGTV ruins our generation as much as we love,
Why is that?
Because of our expectations now of what a house has to be and what it should be. And then you can add in social media in the middle of that and Instagram. But what houses and living is like today versus like even George and I, which you're an elder here at the table compared to me, Ken.
The shots at my age today.
But in the 90s, when I grew up in the early 90s, like I know what our house was like as kids. Paper thin doors, your bathrooms you shared. It was tiny.
That's so true.
Like it just was.
Yeah, I remember those doors.
And so you just like that was life then. That was normal. And now the expectation. So listen, I'm saying all this to say, when you are newlyweds, there is an even heightened emotional pull towards, we want to create a beautiful home and have like all of this, and it's just so beautiful and blah, blah, blah. Which, yes, you want your space to be great, but don't have a big look in the mirror and just say, we are going to have contentment with this, and we're going to be smart. We're not going to go financially in the hole and make a stupid move on a house when we can't afford it. Just to live in that level of like, what it should be and what you think it is. You know what I mean? Like I
agree with you. This is the adventure time. Live in a room over a garage that some old lady owns or something and save even more money.
Yeah.
Let your husband move into that student teaching thing with zero stress, and you all focus on your relationship. I remember my mom and dad were in town recently, and these stories, I hope we don't do this to our kids. They were like,
you will.
Well, we lived in a 900 square... My dad doesn't even talk like that. I don't know why I'm doing that voice. But, we live in a 900 square foot apartment over top of a pharmacy. And I'm like I'm supposed to react to that. I don't remember it. But you think about that, 900 square feet.
Yeah.
Two-room apartment. They said 2-room. It was like, it was their bedroom, and then everything else was like, I think the bathroom and the kitchen was all like...
right there, yep.
And you think about that and you go, okay. I mean, the jury's out whether or not I turned out okay. I mean, I realize now the skeptics. But, we survived. And I don't even remember that.
Yes, that's right.
And certainly as a newlywed couple with no kids.
Yes. Just don't get into the newlywed romanticizing about the living situation.
I like what you said about HTV. You know what we need to be telling these young couples? Go for the before house, not the after house.
Oh, Ken.
Huh? I'm trying to pay attention. I'm trying to be involved with this younger thing you're doing.
I like that.
So instead of the flip, instead of the other side of the flip.
Yeah, go to the first house. I know.
Go to the before. Get stable, then maybe you could flip it down the line.
Yeah, for sure. I know.
I do love HGTV, though.
No, it's great. We were kind of just joking. We were like, Chip and Jo, we love them, obsessed. But also, they ruined us with shiplap. We just feel like everything needs to be shiplap forever. Even though I feel like that's even fading, right?
Is it?
I think so, a little bit.
Whereas Ken was just thankful to have running water in his log cabin when he was growing up.
Yeah, I lived in a log cabin. I'm so glad that you were concerned about shiplap. I grew up eating Spam. Go research Spam, all you young 20-somethings. I ate that every day.
Hamburger helper.
Oh, that's not Spam. Like, Spam wouldn't even clear USDA qualifications. Hey,
Spam.
It's been a fun hour. Thanks to the team in the booth. Thanks to you, America. She's Rachel Cruz. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Rachel Cruz, co-host on The Ramsey Show. If you want to do your debt-free scream live on the show, visit RamseySolutions.com/debt-free scream. We'd love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story. That's RamseySolutions.com/debt-free scream.
From the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions. This is The Ramsey Show. It's where we talk about your life, your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman. Rachel Cruz joins me this hour, and we are here for you to take your calls, America. The phone number is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Let's go to Moss Point, Mississippi. That's where Linda is waiting. Linda, how can we help?
Yes, I've got almost $100,000 in my checking account at the bank, and I'm 76 years old, and I'm getting kind of nervous. I've been looking at gold and silver and stuff, What would you do with that money instead of having it in the bank, all that money?
Tell us what you're most nervous about.
I don't trust the government.
Come on. All right. Welcome to the club, Linda. Welcome to the club. You and I can wear the same hat. So play that out a little bit. I don't trust the government either. But what is a really serious concern and fear that's making you call us right now? Are you think they're going to raid your bank account? What's going on here?
Right, yes.
What would cause them to do that?
Well, because the way he's spending money, he's going to figure he needs some more money.
Okay, all right. I see what you're saying, Rachel. What are some options here?
So, Linda, I love your line of thought, and everyone that knows a little bit of me, I just love a good conspiracy theory. So I've been down every rabbit hole you can imagine. But I think, though, Linda, the truth is, if that really did happen, I think a war would break out. If the government came in and started taking people's money from their personal savings and checking account, we have other problem. Like I genuinely don't see that happening personally.
Yeah, could you make a case for it, Linda? Sure. It could. They can drum up any kind of reasons. I mean, they really could do just about anything they wanted to do. Do I think that's going to happen?
I see that.
Yeah, but Linda, I don't think you need to be worried about that right now. And I don't want you to be investing in gold or silver.
No, yeah, commodities like that, Linda, they don't hold their value. And do you have any investments, Linda, that you are living off of? Is it like from previous retirement or anything, or is it just that money in the bank that is your nest egg?
No, I make about $8,000 a month income. I sold some properties.
Oh, okay.
So I got lots of income.
Yeah.
But I've just been nervous about. I even thought about putting it in a safe. But I don't think that's wise either.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want is everybody in your community seeing a big old truck come in with a safe. Hey, what's going on over at Linda's house? Right?
Yeah, right.
Do you have a financial advisor?
No, I don't.
I really recommend, you trusted us enough to call the show today. I really recommend that you get on our website, RamseySolutions.com. And I would love for you to seek out on our website SmartVestor Pros. These are men and women that we've vetted out because of their values. They understand how Dave for 3 decades has treated people, and they're going to coach you, and you can interview them. You don't have to choose the first one that you meet with several in your area, but just really explain some of your worries and your concerns and some ways to protect yourself. And I think that it will just show you several things. Number one, your options. And then number two, just what would have to happen for those fears of yours to come true, what your protections are, what you can do, how you can diversify some of that money, because you've got really good income coming in.
Yeah.
I would even talk to them about offshore accounts and things of that nature. I'm no expert on that, but the bottom line is they know about investment opportunities, things like where you can protect your money, from things like this, and you invest your money in I'm just saying I'd look into it. I'm not an expert. I talked to one of our SmartVestor pros about it. Rachel's freaking out right now. Well, no, it's a way to protect your money. I mean, it's people do this, they invest it, and it is a thing. So
and I thought, I'm getting to the point where I worry. I'm worry about my money,
Yeah.
And I'm a widow, so I got no husband to advise me,
Well, and let me tell you this too, Linda, that we say around here a lot that there's been a lot of fear in our economy and in our culture over the past few years. I feel like it's just risen for multiple reasons, and we just never make decisions out of fear. Usually when decisions are made completely out of fear, it's in the short term to rest aside that fear, but then long term, when you look out, 3, 4, 5 years, it's not always the best decision, but you made it kind of in a vacuum out of fear. So I really want to just give you peace that, if something we're in this industry all the time. So we're talking to people, we're seeing things going on, we're reading the news, all of it. And if something felt off, like we would definitely be talking. And again, I think things can be off for sure. And some people think they're way off more than others. But overall though, I don't see that happening in the near future at all, personally. So I have money in the banking system. Actually, most of our money is, or in investments. And so, yeah, it's something that we're doing. So that's how we give a lot of this advice as well, is things that we're doing. But you could look, Linda, how much did you say is in the bank right now?
It's a little over 100,000.
Okay. Yeah. And this may I don't know. I'm just thinking of a way to diversify. I think Ken saying to meet with a investment professional is a great step. But it could be, you know, if you, I don't know if I'd fool with it, but I was going to say, you know, buying, you know, a little bit of real estate, like a condo or something, and having money in.
Oh, Lord, I just got rid of real estate. It was driving me crazy.
Terrible advice, Linda. I was cautious to even say it. I shouldn't have said it.
Linda, I want you to know, as soon as she said that, I rolled my eyes. I don't know why Rachel told you that. No, you know what? Listen, SmartVestor Pro is going to give you, honestly, some really great advice. There are other investment opportunities for you where you are protected from the federal government. And again, they can help you on that. So you've got some options.
Smart investors.
Smart, yeah. Hang on the line. We're going to make sure that we get you right to the spot on our website. SmartVestor Pro is the section on the website, but our team is going to get you right there. And I want you to interview several people. Ask all the questions, Linda, that you want to ask. You need to feel comfortable
There's
about
even
that.
investments to go into, Linda, that even have like a moral scape, that it's like, okay, if you are a evangelical believer, here's funds around that. Like you could even look specifically into different things for sure.
And by the way, to come back to what I was saying, the reason people use offshore accounts is to protect their money from their government. So foreign countries, if you feel it's volatile.
It just sounds like a movie. It sounds like a movie. There was a movie.
No, you just put your money in another country's bank.
There was a movie with Cameron Diaz, and he had like all of his money, I think illegally, in his offshore
No, I was not suggesting illegal. The money itself would be illegally gotten, but that is a viable thing to protect yourself from your government.
Yeah.
People do it.
Maybe we should be doing it. Are you doing it, Ken?
No, because I'm okay. I'm not worried about it. It's going to be all right. You know, I think, you know, it's going to be okay, Linda. I promise. This is the Ramsey Show. The Ramsey Show continues from our Ramsey Solutions worldwide headquarters in Nashville. I'm Ken Coleman. Rachel Cruz joins me, and we're thrilled that you've joined us. 888-825-5225. Joshua is up in Lexington, Kentucky. Joshua, how can we help?
Hi, Ken. Hi, Rachel. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
I'll go ahead and get straight to it. I've been working since 2012. I have a bachelor's in political science and master's in American government and executive leadership. I just feel like I'm having a difficult time digging myself out of low-income jobs and getting to my sweet spot job.
Which is what?
I feel like I'm very passionate about politics, working in and around politics. I worked for the last Kentucky governor's office until he lost his reelection. And I've been applying for different Christian lobbyist groups. And I've gotten interviews. I've networked with people. But I just can't seem to break back in.
Sure. So what were you making when you worked for the governor of Kentucky?
That was, again, another low income.
Sure.
It was about $34 a year.
How old are you?
I am 29.
Okay. Are you married?
Yes.
Kids?
And I have kids.
Okay. So
yes, I got one on the way in December, too.
All right.
Oh, congrats.
Good. So when I asked you what that sweet spot or dream job was, you just said, I love politics. I'm just curious, what's at the top of the ladder? It's really important, even though it may feel very out of reach right now. I don't want to focus on that. I just want to know what would be that ultimate gig, and then quickly tell me what's 2 or 3 levels up the ladder that you feel like I've identified, Ken, and if I got in this position, I'd be thrilled professionally and financially, it'd be much better off. Give me those 2 answers.
Yes, so my ultimate goal is to one day run for Kentucky governor.
Gotcha. All right. And then what's 2 or 3 levels up the ladder? Obviously, I think the role with a Christian lobbyist organization or a political organization, a PAC or something like that. Give me another example of something a couple levels up that you've identified where you are making maybe $50,000, $60,000 or more.
Right, and that would, I feel like, be on the governor's staff. Probably not the present day governor's staff here in Kentucky, but maybe a future governor on his staff, to where I would be involved traveling around the state, getting to know people.
All right, so
working.
Here's the advice I'm going to give you, and I want you to understand that it comes from experience. I was 22 years of age when I started working for the governor of Virginia, and it was I think it was a $32,000 a year job. And it was starting out. And then I worked through different campaigns. But here's what I know from that world, whether it's Virginia or Kentucky, it's an extremely small world. You know that. I mean, you know somebody that knows just about anybody in Kentucky politics. And I would also say that if you want to make the move to Washington, and I don't know if that's an option for you, you know plenty of people that can get you in there. And I think that you're a little bit discouraged, and I understand. But what you've got to do is get determined instead of staying discouraged. And you've got to leverage your relationships. You know a lot of people. You work for the governor of Kentucky. So you've got a good political resume. And you've got great relationships. This is you just getting very serious about making connections. Say, all right, I want to work for, and I could throw out, I'll just throw out it's a non-political party affiliation, but Americans for Prosperity. Huge organization. The Koch brothers started it, very conservative. You may be on the liberal side, doesn't matter. They've got, George Soros has got an organization. Point is, you start going, okay, here's one organization. Here's, some offices in D.C., maybe some think tanks, maybe actually working for a cabinet secretary in one of the federal agencies, and you got state agencies in Kentucky. My point is, you know all this, but you've got to put all this out it's almost like a mental piece of paper, and then get serious about who do I know over here, over here, over here, over here, and it's all about relationships. You've got enough of a resume. I wish I had some silver bullet, but politics more than any other industry is about who you know and who will vouch for you and give you a gig. I wish I had a better piece of tactical advice, but you've already been in, so you can get back in. It would be a much more difficult proposition, Rachel, if he had never been in politics. That's a harder deal to get into. So
yeah, for sure.
You just got to stay with it, Joshua, but you can do it. Hang on the line. I'm gonna give you a head start. I'm gonna give you my book, The Proximity Principle. And this is a book that's all about people and places, and it's very tactical, and I think it'll help encourage you and give you some very tactical things to do day in and day out to get in that business. Thank you for the call. Samantha is up next in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I would say the city of brotherly love, just to irritate Rachel.
I was waiting. For some.
You need to know these
something.
things. Somebody's got to teach you culture, Rachel. Samantha, you're on the Ramsey Show. How can we help?
Hi, Ken. Hi, Rachel. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you. Samantha, did George Washington go at all in Philadelphia? Did he do anything, Ken? Give us the...
Well, George Washington was definitely in Philadelphia.
I know, for all the stuff.
He was for all the things right there.
Throw that out there. Okay, I'm sorry, Samantha. I'm here for your question.
No worries. So I'm trying to figure out how much house I should buy.
Okay.
I want to sell my house. I think I can get around $500.
How much do you owe on it?
But nothing. It's paid off.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So why do you want to sell this house?
I'm sorry?
Why do you want to sell this house that's paid off?
I've been here 15 years. I know I heard you guys talking about HGTV, but it was my starter house, and I want something a little bit better. I'm in my 40s, so I want something that that I can keep for another 15 years.
Good for you. Yeah,
you're just stepping up. You're stepping up. It's great.
Yeah, we were just curious of what your motivation is.
Yeah. But that is my question: is should I be going for that? I mean, I could get something that's $500, and it would probably have what I'm looking for.
I got a sneaky suspicion, Samantha, you know exactly what you're looking for, and you know the price range. Is that right, or am I wrong?
That's right, but
then tell us the number.
I'm trying to give myself permission.
Well, Rachel's going to walk you through it. Hit Rachel with the number. What's the house? How much is it going to cost, the one that you would like?
$500.
Wait, 500? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
So you're just flopping you're just taking from your house to the other one?
Yeah, but
Well, that's fine.
It's
That's fine.
one with the update.
Do what?
It's one with the update.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but the point is, you're not. I thought you were going to throw $800,000 out, and then I was going to let Rachel walk you through how we would walk through that decision. But it sounds like you're going to sell one house that's worth $500 and buy another one for $500. Are we hearing you right?
Yeah, well, my thought was I was trying to be responsible, so it's just me, unfortunately, but it's just me. So I didn't know if I should just, suck it up and get like 300.
Do it.
No, Samantha, stop. No. Go get the house you want.
Yeah,
Go get the house you want. And you're paying cash. You're going to be basically paying cash for it. It's amazing. You've worked hard. It's the thing you want? Yes. Go get it. Go enjoy.
Yes. Is that what you wanted to hear, Samantha?
Spend some, time there. Watch TV, eat spaghetti. Just enjoy your life. Enjoy your life.
Gosh. The sage advice today, it's unbelievable. Thank you for sharing that. Samantha, Rachel said you could go eat spaghetti in your new house. What else do you need to hear?
I was thinking.
Do you feel good now?
You should go. Do it, Samantha.
Okay.
Samantha,
all right.
The next 15 years, you've been
it.
dreaming about this. You're so in financial position to do it. This is not silly.
And even if you were going to take a small mortgage out on another house, I wasn't going to be super mad about it.
Right. That's what I thought I was asking.
So yeah. Yes.
Fantastic.
Enjoy it.
Thank you for the call, Samantha. You're amazing. In that segment, we mentioned the city of brotherly love, George Washington, and spaghetti, for those of you that are keeping score
You're
at
welcome.
home. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined in our studio today by my co-host and colleague, Rachel Cruz. Thrilled to have you with us. 888-825-5225. That's the toll-free number to jump in. Blinds.com's 100% satisfaction guarantee means even if you mismeasure or pick the wrong color. Now, I would be the guy who mismeasures. The good news is they'll remake your blinds for free when your husband's a dope like I am. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
And today's question comes from Cassandra in the United Kingdom. Oh, there we go. The UK, Ken.
Please do it in an accent.
I know. I wish I could.
Yeah,
I totally would have.
Yeah, all
Would you
right.
like a spot of tea? Okay. My husband and I are currently overseas in the UK as a military spouse. I have found it extremely difficult to find a side hustle. I have $14,800 in student loans. We do not own a home and have no other consumer debt. I would like to find a side hustle here in England, but it's difficult since we are American, and I'm not sure what to do to increase cash flow. Any advice?
Yeah, Cassandra, I want you to start with the base. You know, this is a safe place to start because you may not know a ton of people on the base, but your husband does. And you've got a group of military men and women, many in the same situation that maybe you're in. You might be surprised how many other military spouses have found side hustles all around the world as they've traveled. You know, it's not their first time.
Yeah.
And so I would start with relationships on base. Hey, I'm looking to make a little bit of extra money, and talk to anybody and everybody that you know, and you might be surprised how an opportunity will come out of those relationships. Experience matters, and there's so many, you know, I've talked to many military spouses on this very question. They'll call in on the Ken Coleman Show, and it's almost every time when they dive into that base of women who are in the same situation or maybe more experienced at traveling, opportunities come your way. And then the good old-fashioned, just get out there and see who wants help.
Well, that, and I mean, obviously there's a time difference, but I mean, look online. Like, are there things you can do from like whether it's I don't know what it would be, but like an online job that you can do where the hours aren't crazy.
Well, she's
but
in
you
the
can,
UK, you know. So the point is she's on site, so she can go and say, hey, where do they need help? And so just good old fashioned show up and apply for opportunities. So thank you for the question.
Okay, so how many times have you found yourself saying, one day I'll do this. One day I'll buy a house. One day I'll be happy with my career. One day I won't be battling anxiety. Well, whatever your one day is, you can actually start right now. And that's one reason we created the SMART Conference. So the SMART Conference, it's a one-day event where we tackle all the areas of your life. And you guys, a lot of us could just use a nice little boost right now. So you're going to hear from the nation's top leading experts on money, career, mental health, relationships, marriage, and leadership. So we are going to Dallas, Texas on Saturday, October 22nd. The event passes are selling fast. VIP and Platinum are already sold out. But you can still get general access passes for $39. So it'll be myself, Ken Coleman next to me, Dr. John Deloney, George Camel, Christina Ellis, Dave Ramsey, Craig and Amy Groeschel from Life Church. And of course, we have some surprises throughout the day, which is always fun. So This is a really fun event, you guys. If you have not gotten your tickets and you're in the Dallas area or want to travel to the Dallas area for it, it's an all-day event and it's really fun. Some great content. So you can visit RamseySolutions.com/events to get your passes today.
What's your one day? Give me one day for you.
Oh, that's a good question.
Come on. You got several one days. Like one day you want to have lunch with Taylor Swift.
I went T Swift.
I don't even know if that's true. I just made that up.
What
folks.
a gal.
Yeah.
One day and it's a kid thing, but like once the kids are gone, I just want to travel. One day I'll just like go to Europe. I'll
be
go to Europe.
Be a full-time traveler?
Not full-time, but I want to enjoy time away, traveling and seeing stuff. But I just feel like, it's hard right now.
Of course, you're in the middle of it.
I can't leave for 2. I mean, I guess I could leave for 2 weeks, but I'm probably not going to.
Leave them with Papa Dave. That's what I would do.
I'm leaving with them tonight, actually.
Okay,
so
fantastic.
Thanks, Papa Dave.
There it is. You gotta love that.
What's your one day?
Well, I have several. First one that comes to mind is a hole-in-one. I want to achieve getting up on a tee box of a par 3 and hitting it in hole-in-one.
Just feels so great.
One day.
Just watching it.
That'd be pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one day.
Yeah, there you go.
See,
Just
I feel
off
like
the top
both of ours are achievable, Ken. I believe in us enough.
I do too. I got to play a lot more golf and increase those chances. So that's problematic.
Get my kids grown and out of the house.
All right, there it is, folks. The one days right there. Great examples. Let's go to the phones. Jose is joining us in El Paso, Texas. Jose, how can we help?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Sorry if I get my words mixed up. I'm a little nervous, but
you're great, Jose. You're doing great.
Thank you. Recently, my wife and I have been around a lot of death. We lost both my in-laws within 6 months apart from each other.
Oh, my gosh.
2 years ago, I lost my uncle. Last week, I lost my other uncle.
Oh, my gosh.
About 3 weeks ago, my wife lost her best friend's son, from a 15-year-old son from cancer. So it opened up our eyes a little bit, and we've been looking into getting life insurance. And because it's just me, my wife, and my 18-year-old daughter. We don't want us to struggle in case anything were to happen to any of us. So we had somebody come over to talk to us, and I know Mr. Ramsey says not to get whole life because they're the timeshare of insurance, life insurance. So I was looking at term because that's what I learned from listening to the show. But one thing she brought up was universal, and I've never heard of universal. So I wanted to get your guys' feedback on that.
I mean, it's basically in the same sector of whole life. I mean, it's just the idea you'll have investment. Yeah. So no, it kind of coats itself a little bit better than whole life, the way it presents itself, but it is that. So no, we do not recommend universal. Term life is exactly the route you need to go because it's still going to be less expensive than universal.
Okay.
And again, you're keeping your investments and your insurance separate, which is what term life does. There's nothing else attached to it, where a lot of these other options, they're more expensive and they have an attachment of some type of investment with it. So, term life is where, and I would just honestly, Jose, go to Xander.com, and they have such a great, easy interface. If you've gone to it before, you just like really put in some information and go through a few steps, and then they bring out all of these companies that have. It's not just one specific company. They go and shop all of these companies to really figure out the best needs for your family. So that's where my husband and I got ours. I mean, they just make it so easy. Yeah. And I'm really proud of you guys for doing this. I mean, seriously, life insurance is one of the things that is key, so important to do for your family, that a lot of people just skip that step. So I'm really proud of you and your wife for doing it. And even if she's a stay-at-home mom, I would still get life insurance on her as well.
Yep.
Anyone that's dependent upon your income. Okay, good.
Jose, have you ever been through this?
I'm sorry.
Have you ever been through this process before? Or is this going to be your first time?
No, this is all completely new to us.
Great.
And honestly, she's the girl that was talking to us about it. She broke it down, but I don't want to make the wrong move.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, no, you know what? Let me call.
Good.
She's shopping around for us because she works for a company that she even sells like Obamacare and all sorts of insurance and stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she's shopping around for us, but
I'll tell you this.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't get locked into something that is not beneficial.
And Jose, you don't even need an insurance agent like that. I mean, like,
No, you do not.
you could do it yourself.
You could, but I mean, Dave and Jeff Zander have known each other for 3 decades. I know Jeff personally. Rachel knows Jeff. It's a wonderful company. We endorse them because they're shopping for you for the best policies, and they're only going to recommend terms. So you're not going to have to learn about some new type of insurance. As Rachel said, I would get with them today. I mean, before you go to bed, get online. I think it's less than a couple of minutes. You can get a free quote. They're very good people. Tell them you talked to Rachel and I on the show today, and we said take really good care of you.
Yeah.
Ask all the questions you want to ask, and it's a simple process. I got to give you one little tip, though, that you're not going to get many times when you ask about this. I recently got the best rate possible. Let me tell you something. No cheeseburgers. Like, eat super lean for 30 days before the life insurance blood test.
No smoking, no alcohol,
no smoking,
nothing.
no alcohol. And I'm telling you, you get that
a good rate.
preferred rate when you got the low cholesterol. There it is, folks.
Thanks, Jose, for calling in.
Thank you, Jose. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back, America. You're listening to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague, Rachel Cruz. Thrilled that you are with us. Our scripture of the day comes from Proverbs 18:24. There are friends who destroy each other, but a real friend sticks closer than a brother. Our quote today, Ray Goforth. There are 2 types of people who will tell you that you cannot make a difference in this world. Those who are afraid to try, and those who are afraid you will succeed. Yeah, that's good. I find that a lot with family sometimes, right? Not my personal family, but I hear from callers, it's like family tries to hold people back. They're afraid that if you actually succeed, you're going to go a long way away or leave them in the dust. Let's go to William, who joins us in Wichita, Kansas. William, how can we help?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. What's up?
Okay. You cut out there for a second.
All right.
Basically, my question is, since me and my wife can't get a loan from a bank for a house, should we have my dad get the loan and get the house in his name and then pay him back for it?
Have you shopped around, Dylan? Have you guys tried like 2, 3, 4 other places, from mortgage brokers to credit unions, other banks?
Basically, since we can't get a loan that's government secured because we haven't had 2 years stable income, which apparently is non-negotiable. Now, there may be in-house loan options, but those will be adjustable rate and higher interest rate than my dad can get for himself, if that makes sense.
Yes. Okay. You're kind of cutting out a little bit, Dylan. Okay. So where are you guys at financially? What kind of debt do you have?
We're great. Debt besides credit card month to month, which gets paid off at the end of every month.
Okay.
Credit score is good. Cash is good.
How much do you have
except
saved?
those 2 years. How much do we have saved?
Mm-hmm.
About 50,000.
About 50. Is that part of your emergency fund and down payment?
Yeah, that's all liquid cash we have it.
Okay. Perfect. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I do not, I mean, it's kind of in a sense a co-signing situation. I mean, he's taking the loan out, but it's on your behalf.
Yeah.
And honestly, Dylan, we just don't recommend doing it with family, even though it sounds probably fine and it's not a big deal. I would recommend you and your wife be stable on a job for 2 years, and then you guys go get the loan yourself. How old are you guys?
I'm 20 and the wife's 22.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What has to be true for you all to then, what financial stability, you mentioned this earlier, you were cutting out, but there's some things that you didn't have in place, and so you couldn't get the loan. So what has to be true for you to be able to qualify?
The only thing that has to be true is 2 years of stable income in our chosen career paths.
Okay. So here's the deal. You're 20 and 22. A house that you want to buy, William, is going to be there. Okay. So you got to lay out this groundwork. Don't get in the situation with your dad. It could be a situation that could go ugly, create unnecessary tension. And again, you're so young. You guys can rent and get stable, get in your professions, and just
You're not
take
in a
your
rush.
time.
Not in a rush.
There's no hurry.
And William too. Sorry, I called you Dylan earlier. Sorry, William. And I would say this too. I would give this advice even if you were 38.
Yeah,
even at 38, I still wouldn't have my dad take out a loan.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, it just changes relationship. And I think it's not a great habit to be in, even, especially since you guys are young. I'm like, you have the time. That's the great part. You have more positive on your side for that. You guys are okay. Home ownership will be in your future. And I would just make it independent of you guys too. Cause Dylan, that's going to be a little bit, I think of a dignity for you as well, that you and your wife, you are your own unit. You have left mom and dad, and you guys got to figure it out on your own. And there's something about that, that I think is going to be really good for you and your wife. And I think too, I'm like, any goal that you have, and for some people it's getting out of debt, for some people it's getting a house. But when you do it as a married couple, and you do what's hard, and right, this would be hard for y'all. We're giving you more of a hard road, I think a healthier road long term, but it's a hard road. But when you walk a hard road with your spouse and do the quote unquote impossible or the hard thing, there's something that happens in your marriage, Dylan. And a little bit of it can kind of feel like a cop out of like, well, dad can figure it out and take care of it for us, and we can get what we want right now. Yeah. There's a little bit of the struggle that I think is so good. And I remember when Winston and I, we saved up and we built a house. We had saved for years and years and years and years, and moved in November of 19. And I remember that leading up, as we're having to make those withdrawals during that build. I mean, it was like we were cutting stuff out of the budget. I mean, we were, every commission thing I could do, I was like, I'm doing it. I mean, It was just this moment of like, we're going to do it. And when we finished that project, I mean, him and I just remember walking through the doors of that house, and we were like, we did this.
So much more.
There is something about that strengthens your marriage, Dylan, that I don't think you could get otherwise. So all that to say, I think there's a lot more pros by you guys just working hard for 2 years on a job that you love, buying a house on your own. You guys can do it. You're smart. You're doing great. You're young. It's perfect. And there's a lot of downside that could happen. Not that it always would happen with your dad, but if it does go south, it's not good. Yeah. It's not fun.
I agree. Now we go to Dylan. Poor William.
I know.
You called him Dylan about 17 times, but you were on such a roll. I didn't really feel the need to correct you.
Our board, the board that we look at for the callers, I messed up the color.
It's all right.
I was looking at the orange.
Now we're going to Dylan, so don't call him William. All right? That's all the audience wants, and me, quite frankly. Dylan, you're on the Ramsey Show.
Hey, can y'all hear me okay?
William?
How confused were you on the last call? She kept talking to you, and you're like, she can't hear me. It's okay.
No, it's okay because I'm 22 and my wife's 22, and we just got married in April.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
All the marriage advice. Yeah.
There you go.
You and William.
All right.
Y'all could be friends.
Yeah.
All right. So we got about 2 minutes. How can we help?
Okay, so basically I have a car loan that's $8,000, and I have student debt that's $6,500, and I've got $11,400 in savings. So if I paid off my car loan first, which is the higher, which is why I'm calling y'all, because it's the higher one, but it would save me $416 a month if I paid it off first and then attack the student loan one. And with them being so close, I'm not sure if I should just go ahead and pay the car off first, even though it's the higher one.
I mean, honestly, yeah, Dylan, I would just go ahead and knock out the student loan debts and then work to pay off the car. I mean, you're not going to be that far off. And so I don't know that I understand what you're saying about the interest and all of that, but I would just go ahead and just pay off the student loan. There's something that feels good about just saying, okay, I'm done. I'm done with that student loan. It's done. And then you guys have just like what, $3,000 more to go tackle for the car loan. And you guys, how much do you make a year?
Net like $75,000.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Well then,
that's gross.
yeah.
Gross.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, $5,000 left. You could sell a couple things around the house, get some money together. Yeah, I would.
It's got 11,000. Did I hear you say 11,000 in savings?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you know what we teach there? Yeah. Take that down to 1,000, right? And use all of that 10 on this process. But I think you can knock this out really quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, go through the debt snowball. It works every time.
All right. Awesome.
Yep. Appreciate the call.
Thanks, Dylan.
Yeah, there you go. I'm very excited that you got his name right. That's always good. In all seriousness, why the snowball? Why the momentum? Like, why do we tell people every time it actually works? I know you've taught this many times.
Well,
you've had this call many times.
It's just not a math. I mean, debt to a point is not a math issue. It's more of a behavior issue. And so getting out of it, there's something about those quick wins that just feel like, gosh, it just feels great. And so he's asking, okay, if I'm going to have 10 grand, could I throw it at the 8, have 2 left, and then knock out the student loan? So yeah, I mean, like Dylan, you could do that because I understand what you're saying. But then there's something about having the momentum of having the student loan gone, the lowest, throwing any extra that you had at the car and then attacking that car. So there's just, it's a feeling of that behavior change happening that helps people win.
Rachel Cruz, always fun to be with you. Thanks for hanging out today. I want to thank James and the team behind the booth for what they do. Mostly we want to thank you, America. We do the show for you. Thank you so much for listening in today. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey folks, Ken Coleman here. Did you know The Ramsey Show is one of the most popular podcasts in the world? Get your daily dose of advice on life and money. Check out all of our shows from The Ramsey Network wherever you listen to podcasts.